All right, what is up, everybody? Divine Hood here, coming at you with another daily update on Bitcoin in the crypto markets. Okay, guys, so Bitcoin did get a small pullback today. It did continue to pump a bit overnight as I went to bed. We had bounced from that value area low of the range, taking our local range liquidity, our internal liquidity, and we were seeing that move up, breaking above the point of control. You can see we came up to the value area high, had a very small pullback from the value area high, but then was able to break the value area high and come grab our local liquidity above. And then we got that bit of a dump this morning and throughout the day here. So I was looking, actually, now that we broke this value area high this morning, I was looking for the value area high to hold on, as support on a bullish back test, but we didn't get that. We just busted straight through it. We actually came back and back tested that value area high. And I did warn about this in the Discord. I said, if we back test this value area high and we reject, we are going to make new lows on the day. And we did end up doing that. So throughout the day, really just looking at one trade, we rejected that value area high. I was looking to come down to this point of control where we did have a golden pocket nearby. Now, we did break the golden pocket. We almost came to the 786. Let's go ahead and pull that fib from the low to the high of the move from yesterday, last night, really. You can see we just barely front ran that 786 and we came down to the point of control. Now, at the golden pocket, I was looking for a long as well. We just weren't really seeing proper confirmations to get in here. Money flow looked really bad. So was waiting to come down to the point of control. And my plan for today was to bounce from the point of control as soon as we reclaimed the golden pocket to enter long to bring it up to actually hit our resistance finally that's above us, our resistance box that we've been looking at coming up to for quite a while now. Now, we did not quite do that. I didn't long as soon as we reclaimed the golden pocket here. What I did, let's go ahead and zoom in just a little bit more. You can see on the 5-minute chart and even on like the 3-minute, 1-minute chart, as we were grinding down here, we were able to reclaim the point of control, but we were seeing bull divs here, but the money flow still looked like garbage here. So I was a little bit patient, and after this second touch here, hitting into the point of control, point of control, after we reclaimed that point of control, took along from this area, and we continued to kind of just move up. You see, the point of control overall held its support, and we just moved up to the highs of the range, the value area high of the range, and we are continuing to move up. Now, I do want to talk about the reason I was looking for a long in this area was, first of all, my bias is still bullish until we get up to resistance. And once we get up here, my bias might change, but I do think it's highly probable that we do make it up to this resistance box above us. We have so much key resistance up here, and I just don't see us getting this close to it and not hitting into resistance. And actually, the fact that we did get this close to it on Friday and front ran it is actually somewhat of a bullish sign. Anytime you get that close to a major resistance, you front run it and you see a whole correction over the weekend, it does, and you continue to range within your same range that you've been ranging in really since Tuesday for almost about a week now. What we could even see, now this is not the most probable scenario for me, but what we could even see is when we do come up there, we do not see the reaction we want to see and we continue pumping, maybe even to the top of the purple box there. We do have a lot of resistance up in this area, though. This purple box up here, there is so much resistance. I just don't see us busting straight through it. Who knows? The market can surprise us. Let's see what happens. The front run on Friday was a bit bullish that we front ran it and then held local support lows, range lows, and then now we're pushing back up again. That is a bullish sign for me that Bitcoin at least wants to continue up to this purple box of resistance up here. But overall, yeah, we were seeing the reason why I was looking for a long at the point of control here. First of all, we're still showing strength within this range. We are just ranging for now. But you can see this move down that we made was a very clear three-wave corrective move. Three-wave corrective move look into our point of control. Now, I was also looking at if I got stopped out on the point of control, I was looking to re-enter on the 786 as well. We didn't quite get down there. And so we were able to reclaim VWAP, and actually on Bybit, what did we do? We reclaimed the VWAP, we back tested the VWAP, and now we're pumping again here. So locally, Bitcoin still looks pretty bullish. We had that three-wave correction after the move up yesterday, push down, and now we're continuing back up here. Just still ranging, guys. Nothing really has changed too much. We are just still ranging in the range. Yesterday, we did bounce from the value area low and the liquidity grab. Now you can see our value area low on Bybit has shifted higher. If I pull this volume profile back to yesterday, you can see the value area low was right there at that liquidity grab. And that's why we bounced where we bounced. Just trading the range. Look for longs near the lows of the range. Look for shorts near the highs of the range. Now, let's pull our volume profile back to present day, all back to present price action. And you can see that we are seeing a bit of a small rejection here so far at the value area high of the range. We are just ranging. So I have not taken a short yet, but I did take some profits on the long right up here. I entered a new long actually. So I entered a long on the reclaim of the POC. When we started finding some weakness, I took some profit to de-risk the trade because we weren't really seeing the greatest signals to look for long. And then once we hit the value VWAP, I closed out the rest of it. I was okay with the scalp. My risk was set for a small trade, scalp trade, so I was okay closing that out. But I did re-enter on this back test here. And I am long from this back test of the VWAP, looking to take it up to at least this weekly at 96,300-ish area. And my stop is below that low at the VWAP there. Now, we are rejecting here, so I did take a little bit of profit on that just very small scalp here. Up to the value area, I took a little bit of profit there. That way, if we do come back down and break back down into the lows of our range or even come a little bit lower, that's a risk-free trade. But overall, guys, Bitcoin is still looking pretty bullish. We are just still ranging, not too much to change from yesterday. If we do go into our liquidation heat map, I still want to just make you guys aware of this and point this out to you. This is the last 1 month of price action. We do have that giant liquidity pool that is down around 83K. And as we know, those range lows, let me zoom out to the 4-hour chart here. Those lows from this range a couple weeks ago are right around that 83K area. So I am still watching for one more push up into our purple box of resistance. Once we hit into this purple box of resistance, I think it could be highly probable that we at least come down to 83K to grab that liquidity down there. If we are seeing signs of bearish confirmation up here, I will short. So far, we are seeing some signs develop. So let me go ahead and hide some of this so we can look at this. You can see on the 4-hour chart, higher highs in the price action, lower highs in the momentum waves. Our money flow overall is now starting to come out of the asset. So what I would like to see here to give us extra confirmation, if we can make one more high into this purple box, that would give us triple highs here, 3 higher highs, and then this momentum wave bottoms out a bit lower. That would give us 3 drives of bear div on the 4-hour time frame with money flow still draining out of the asset into a very, very key resistance area, which that would give me enough of a confirmation to look for a short. And the short, I would be looking to at least bring down to backtest the value area high of this range, around 88,500, 88,600. And then I, of course, would leave some open for lower targets, knowing that our overall premise is we could be putting in a higher low, a lower high, excuse me, and dropping very much further, down to 70K. Now, I'm not going there yet. I'm just saying I am looking for shorts up near resistance. That's what you should be doing, or you should be taking profits on your longs near resistance. You should be looking for shorts if you have confirmation near resistance. And we are developing some confirmation to look for some shorts already. Okay, and then let's go into our CVD. Really, we're not seeing too much of a bias on CVD right now. You can see for most of the day, our open interest has just been declining here. What we saw last night and yesterday after I made that video, you could see on this push up, we had a lot of longs that were kind of stepping into the market, and those longs were fresh, new longs, new positions stepping in, successfully pushing the price of Bitcoin back up to the top of the range. But then we saw a lot of longs coming in. You can see, let me get rid of some of this chicken scratch here. You can see a lot of longs were coming in near the highs. After this initial dump here, just in this area that I circled just now, we saw a lot of longs coming in here. Open interest aggressively increasing, meaning new positions were coming in near the value area high of our range, which is always a bad sign, because if you do start to reject from that value area high, you can see a bit of a long squeeze down. And that's kind of what we saw today on that drop. You can see on the initial drop, we had a big drop in open interest. A lot of those late longers getting stopped out or liquidated. And then we saw another rise to make a lower high, rejecting from the value area high after re-entering back within it. Made new lows. Open interest continues to drop now, but we bounce from the point of control of the range, which is a bullish thing. We are flipping the point of control to support once again locally on this range. Not that range, excuse me. Let me zoom in here. 15-minute chart, just this last upper range from Tuesday. If we pull that range again, flipping the point of control to support, broke above it, flipped it to support. Now we're continuing to push up here. So what I'm looking at here, as far as our CVD goes, you can see coming down right in this area, that's where that point of control is of that range. We saw a bunch of longs starting to step in here. Long positions, really, it was late shorters getting stopped out as well. That's why you can see open interest is still declining, meaning it's not new money coming in that is really making the price go up. It's late shorters. Once again, people just keep longing the top and shorting the bottom. You can see in this area here, we had a lot of shorters that were shorting the market. Open interest was kind of increasing in that area. And then, of course, as soon as we start to bounce here, they get trapped underwater, which kind of gives us that fuel to push us up here. That's why your open interest is decreasing, because it's a bit of a short squeeze now. Late shorters getting squeezed out. So we had our long squeeze this morning, our short squeeze this afternoon, and we are just continuing to range within the range, continuing to push up. I do expect us to come up to our resistance area above. Now, could we range for a bit longer? Yes, absolutely. We do have some catalysts in the market this week we'll need to be paying attention to, some high impact news events. But overall, Bitcoin's looking pretty strong here. We are developing some warning signs that we need to pay attention to. I showed you guys the 4-hour bear div that we're seeing on the chart. Multiple drives possibly developing. You can see on the 2-hour, we also have those bear divs, higher highs in the price action, lower highs in the momentum waves, with our money flow now coming out and even trying to cross into the red here. So if we get one more push up into that purple box and do this again on the 2-hour, we would have also 2-hour bull divs with money flow crossing into the red. Bear divs, excuse me. 2-hour bear divs with money flow crossing into red. Multiple time frames of it, and that could give us our signal to look for a bigger correction from actually hitting resistance. But until we actually hit resistance, I am having a bias of coming higher, coming to this box, this purple box up here. Now, if we do start to lose the range lows, like the range value area low, or even the range lows down here, we do need to be careful because we do have this nice support that's down below us. We have the 1-hour order block, the anchored VWAP from the all-time high. There's a naked daily point of control in there, and there's a 382 in there. So if we do come down, grab the liquidity from the lows of the range into support, I do think that is still possible before coming up here, but it's not the highest probability. The highest probability would be to come up first and then see a bigger rejection, continue to the push down. Not too much else happening on Bitcoin though. If we look at our liquidation heat map, and let's just look at our Model 2, and let's go look at just the past 24 hours. You can see that the majority of the very, very local liquidity is above us. So that will be acting as a magnet to bring us a bit higher here. And even if we zoom out and look at like the past week of price action, you can see that liquidity is mostly above us, which we are so close to it and it's acting like a magnet. I don't think that we are not going to come up there and grab that liquidity into our purple box of resistance. So that's my bias for now, to continue to push a little bit higher. We are developing signals to look for the short up here, and I will be looking for a short. Also to take profit on the long positions, even the scalp long positions. Completely close out of that. All right, that is it for Bitcoin. I believe, let me see if there's anything I'm missing. Naked daily point of controls. Yeah, we don't have too much new on the charts here. Let's go to Ethereum here real quick. Ethereum, guys, last time I talked about Ethereum, and I know it's been a few days since I've talked about Ethereum. The last couple of videos, I focused only on Bitcoin. But you can see here with Ethereum, what we were talking about in the last video of Ethereum, we were getting above this very, very key, important support resistance flip area, about 1750-ish. And you can see we got above it, hit into our resistance box, had the back test of that support resistance area, and we're able to push back up. And now last time I talked about Ethereum, I said I would like to see us come a little bit higher into this purple box of resistance. Actually, I said I would like us to still come up to the point of control, to reject from the point of control of our prior range. Well, we did come up to that purple box of resistance. If we turn on our naked daily points of control, You can see we still haven't even hit the naked daily point of control above us, but we are just ranging now in between our box of resistance and our support resistance flip that we have now flipped to support. You can see every time that we come back down now on the 2-hour chart to that support resistance flip area, it is acting as support, holding us as support. So until we lose that, I do expect us to come at least a little bit higher to come up to that naked daily point of control around 1875. If not, push even a little bit higher up to like the 2000 area where we have this resistance, our next resistance box up there. But yeah, Ethereum's just ranging as well. So if you want to look at Ethereum, playing it as an intraday trader or scalp trader, you could just pull the volume of this range. You could trade this range here. If we zoom in onto the 15-minute chart, you could see we grabbed our liquidity locally of these lows at about 1753, saw the liquidity grab, swing failure pattern, and now we're pushing up. We're at the point of control, and we're just finding some struggle here, but it's not really rejecting either. So I do think now that we've grabbed our local liquidity of the lows of Sunday, of yesterday, maybe we can come up and grab the highs of yesterday, or last night, I guess you would want to say, or even come up even a little bit higher to hit that naked daily point of control. As far as our divs go on Ethereum here, you can also see, let me zoom out to the 4-hour chart. On the 4-hour chart, you can see we were seeing those bear divs into our box of resistance, giving us that small pushback down to back test the SR flip level as support. But you could see higher highs in the price action, lower highs in the momentum waves. Now, this one was a bit tricky because your money flow looked really, really strong in this area, and we didn't hit the naked daily point of control. So if I was looking at this, I probably wouldn't have taken the short just based off the money flow on the 4-hour time frame. If we go on the 2-hour time frame, you can see that our money flow, it was still looking pretty strong, but it was a little bit better of a signal. 3 drives of bear div on the 2-hour. Your money flow was looking strong, but you were at your box of resistance, and it's also your golden pocket. So I do understand if you took a short from that area, but if you did take a short from that area, you should have been taking profit as soon as we started bouncing from the SR flip level. And then now even more locally, if we go on to the 15-minute chart, yeah, not too much happening here, guys. We don't really have any bull or bear divs right now on the chart. Let's see. Yeah, about equal highs here. We have higher highs on the price action, but equal highs here. So nothing there as far as bear divs go yet. We are starting to see a small rejection, or at least some resistance up in this area of the point of control. So what I would be looking for, if we do reject from this point of control, you could look at that value area low of the range. Let's go ahead and grab our Fibonacci. Let's go from the lows to our current highs. Yeah, value area low is near your golden pocket. So if you think Ethereum is going to reject from this point of control, maybe come down to the golden pocket, value area low, general, really local support level, bounce from there and continue the push up towards the top of the box, towards that naked daily point of control and our prior range point of control. But Ethereum's looking pretty good too. The fact that we are flipping this higher time frame, let's go on the daily chart. The fact that we are flipping this higher time frame support resistance flip area, you can see that this area has been a very important area, and it's a general area. I marked it out as a line, but it's a general area, but we're flipping it to support and holding it as support. What that tells me is that Ethereum is looking to continue its strength a little bit to the upside, to continue to push up here a bit. Okay, let's see. Where did that one channel go? Not that guy. Okay, we can delete those. And let me go ahead and come in here and clean this chart up just a bit. We do have that weekly level that is down at 1587 that I do think is going to be important because that's where our point of control is as well. So actually, I'm going to extend this box up to that weekly level. And I do think this box of support now between 1587 and 1568 is becoming a pretty important box. We have a weekly level and a point of control down there. And that point of control is of our major 4-year-long range. Okay, but locally looking pretty good, just forming the range. Continue maybe a little bit more of a push up. If Bitcoin pushes up into its purple box of resistance, Ethereum will probably push up and hit that naked daily point of control above us. Let's go back to Bitcoin real quick because I do want to talk about this daily chart as well. So let's go to the daily chart. You can see that our momentum wave was kind of topping out over the weekend and it's starting to kind of curve down here, but our money flow still looks strong. So what I would like to see, even if, and this is why I say that we could see a range for even a bit longer, in this small micro range that we've been in since Tuesday, is that we could form a bit of a range in here, come up one more time into that liquidity, and you would see something like this where we push down a little bit, come up, form some daily bear divs, money flow. By then you'd want to see kind of topping out and starting to curve down here, and we would have daily bear divs, 4-hour bear divs, triple drive of 4-hour bear divs. You would see the 2-hour drive of bear divs, and this would be a really great signal to look for a short up in this area. So in some ways, I do want to range for a bit. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. We could push up here tonight. Okay, that's it for Ethereum. That's it for Bitcoin. Let's go to Solana. Now, guys, Solana, the last time I covered Solana, lots happened since I covered Solana as well. Let's go ahead and go into, so you can see I still have this naked daily point of control marked out on the chart, even though we bounced from it perfectly. So Solana was seeing, and this is a new one, so this wasn't here when we rejected there, but Solana did see the liquidity grab of these range highs up here, these little highs, not range highs, but these little highs. Let's put that on the chart real quick. Okay, and what we've been looking at overall on Solana, let me get rid of this little range to clean this up. What we've been looking at on Solana, now that we were able to flip our big point of control, that's this point of control here at about $144, $143.7 to $144. This is our big range that goes back to March of 2024. So a bit over a year now, we've been ranging between, the value area low. Remember, we reclaimed that, pushed up to the point of control, flipped the point of control to support, or, flipped it very, very locally on a small back test to support and continued up higher. We grabbed the liquidity, and then we saw kind of a dump over the weekend after grabbing the liquidity. But what's important here is this blue line that we're seeing that's coming down here. That is our pitchfork that we broke out of. So let me go ahead and try to clean this chart up just a bit here. I'm just going to turn off some of these levels. And I want to talk about this pitchfork here. Let me get rid of this SFP now. This pitchfork was a very key pitchfork that we've been trading in. We re-entered it, and since we re-entered it on higher time frames, we kind of, rejected after the bearish backtest, came to the midline, came back up pretty much to the top again, rejected, came down to the lower band, and then we were finding a lot of resistance in this upper band here, but we were able to flip the value area low to support and push through that band. Once we flipped the value area low to support, push through the band, we were able to break through the point of control and break out of the bearish pitchfork. Now, once we broke out of the bearish pitchfork, the first thing I said is I'm going to be looking for a back test of that pitchfork to confirm a flip to support. So we did come down. We did perfectly back test that pitchfork, and we held it as support and made new highs, forming bearish divs, showing us that maybe we could look for a short on the bear divs there. And we took the liquidity. Remember, that was a level we had marked out to look for a liquidity grab from there. So we got that small pushback over the weekend after bouncing from the pitchfork, made new highs, grabbed liquidity, saw a small pullback over the weekend. But look at what's happening. We just keep coming down to the back test, to the bullish back test of our pitchfork. Now that we have broken out of it, we are starting to range above it, hold it as support overall. So are we going to range here for a bit, hold it as support to continue to push up to our next real resistance box above us? Well, I do think that's a nice possibility here for Solana. Solana's still looking pretty strong overall. If I turn back on those naked daily points of controls, you can see here, let me get rid of this old one. You can see here the other day, what was that, on Sunday, we saw that bit of a drop on a lot of coins, and including Solana, and we had that slow grind down over the weekend. We dropped to backtest once again, actually hitting the pitchfork into our naked daily point of control. saw a perfect bounce from the pitchfork and the naked daily point of control, pushed up, made new local highs, came up to our golden pocket area. So if we do a golden pocket pull from the range highs, I'm talking about this small range since, what was that, last Tuesday, to the lows that we made of that range. So golden pocket from the highs of the range to the lows of the range. Solana bounced up to that golden pocket area, saw the rejection from the golden pocket, but has not come down to make new lows yet. Now, one of the things that I am looking at, since we've broken above the year-long point of control, you can see we broke above it, rejected from the pitchfork, back tested it immediately on very low time frames. Back tested immediately, pushed up higher. But we have not had the high time frame back test of the point of control yet since breaking it. So usually what you see is an immediate low time frame back test to flip it to support to continue higher. Then you'll see a bit of a higher time frame back test to flip it to support to continue higher. So what I'm looking for, if we lose, even if we, I would say because we made a lower high overall, we have our high, lower low, lower high. We could be expecting a lower low to come in on the charts. But what I would be expecting for Solana is to come down to this point of control. And I would really want to see this point of control hold and flip to confirm a flip to support to continue to work our way up to our real big box of resistance above us. Now we do have to remember we have the 786 now in confluence with that naked daily point of control, and that's going to be a kind of a micro resistance for us if we also pull our volume profile of that range. Okay, so value area high is a bit lower. It's at that golden pocket. That's part of the reason why we rejected there early this morning. But I would say that 786 and naked daily point of control could still be an area where we reject if we're going to continue to range for a bit. If Bitcoin's going to continue to range, so will Solana. So this could be an area where you look for a scalp short. The main area I'm looking for shorts is up in this area, the purple box above us. 161.8. We have a naked daily point of control up there. We have our anchored VWAP, and we have a much larger 786 in that area. But right now, Solana is just ranging. I would even like to see us come down to make another low into that point of control at 144 or 143.7. Flip that into support to continue up to 161.8. But let's go ahead now and delete this naked daily point of control. The only reason I left it on the chart is to show you that we did bounce from it. But now that it's been tapped, we can go ahead and get rid of it. And it would even be nice, guys, if, because we do have our pitchfork that's there, and to see a small wick below the pitchfork to hit that point of control and then an instant reclaim, to me, is not really losing the pitchfork level. So I would want to see no more than a 4-hour close, though, below the pitchfork level. Maybe a 1-hour candle dumping to that point of control. The next hourly candle closes at or above the pitchfork level, and then we continue to work our way up. We were seeing the bear divs just like Bitcoin, Ethereum, all the rest of the coins, higher highs in the price action, lower highs in the momentum waves. But look at on Solana, we were seeing money flow already lead the asset very nicely. So it's a little bit better of a signal than Ethereum was. And you could have looked for the short as soon as losing that liquidity level. As soon as losing these highs here, you could have looked for the short to at least take back down to the lows of the range. And we did come back down to the lows of the range. Grab those range lows here into the pitchfork and then pushed up. So very nice scalps playing out in these small ranges here. But overall, Solana's looking pretty strong. One warning signal that I do have, you can see if we zoom out on Solana, let's zoom out to the 2-hour chart. Let's just go a little bit further out. Look at this push up that we've had. It's been a pretty aggressive push up on Solana. We have not really had any real corrections. Our biggest correction, I would say, was that back test of the value area low. And I did look for that long there. Did take that long there. But really, this thing has been pushing up pretty heavily, pretty aggressively. And now that we are starting to see some bear divs form on the chart here, you can see multiple drives of bear divs on the 2-hour, on the 4-hour, on the 1-hour. We are starting to form some higher time frame bear divs. We are also forming a pattern called the head and shoulders pattern. So left shoulder, head. Is this the right shoulder where we rejected from the golden pocket, which is the area where you would reject, making a lower high? Now remember, we already made a lower low, taking the liquidity of the range lows. So we had our high, we had a lower low a lower high, could we be expecting a lower low to come in on the charts? So as far as this head and shoulders pattern goes, yes, it's not the greatest looking head and shoulders. And no, I do not play patterns solely. But we are forming a topping reversal type of pattern, which is a head and shoulders type pattern. We did break market structure bearishly and put in a lower high. So if we do come down and the point of control does not hold, I do think we could see a much bigger flush down to the band again and to our anchored VWAP from the lows. About 127, 125 area. I would say 131 to 127 is our next support level. Let's see. Do we have a support box there? We do not. We are still holding our support that we broke above. So after we broke above this, we were looking at this as local support. It's still holding as local support. But let's actually go ahead and look here. Let's go on to the daily chart. And let's see if we have that daily. Yeah, we've got that daily at 136.5. And let's just zoom into the 2 hour. Let's just check to see if we have any naked daily point of control. Well, we have that naked daily point of control at 125.5. So what I would say, if Solana is going to lose the point of control around 143.7, then we could see a bigger flush down. Now, there's a couple local levels. Now, guys, these are local levels of support. And if Bitcoin taps into that major resistance and starts dumping hard, these local levels will not hold for Solana. But what I would like to say with Solana is we have a couple local things we could be looking at. First of all, these internal lows at 133.82 look kind of juicy. If we did see a drop to SFP those lows into the top of the pitchfork band, that would be nice because you can also see that was our prior support resistance flip area. If you look here, actually, let me just do a line. You can see this general area here. Let's just throw it on there. Resistance, 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 kind of flipped it to support again, confirmed the flip to support, and now we're pushing up. So it is a sort of support resistance flip area around that 133. Now, I would like to see personally us come down to hit the pitchfork band if we came that low. So a little bit lower than that area, grab that liquidity there into the pitchfork band and then push up. But I think our naked daily point of control at 125.5 is a generally good area as well. The anchored VWAP is getting a bit higher than that naked daily point of control. So I would say this general area in here between 130 and 125 could be our next big support level that we look for. Pitchfork band, anchored VWAPs now coming up into this area, naked daily point of control. Also, it's probably the point of control of this small range that we saw for about a week here. Yeah, point of control of that small range is in there as well. But right now, Solana overall holding as support. We flipped the point of control. It's holding as support. We flipped the pitchfork. It's holding as support. So until we start to lose those levels, my bias on Solana is to continue higher to our next big box of resistance above between 161.8 and 165. Really, this can go a little bit lower now. 164. Let's see. Do we have that marked out? Well, I know there's a naked daily point of control in there. There's our 786 and there's our anchored VWAP. Okay, that is about it for Solana. Looking pretty good here. As far as very, very locally range trading, I do like to range trade, intraday trade Solana. So that bounce from the naked daily point of control that we had was very nice to see. I did not catch that because it happened while I was asleep. But overall, yeah, we're kind of just pushing up. I would be worried about this looking like an ABC correction here with like an A, B, C, where we come down because remember we flipped market structure bearishly locally, had our high, lower low, lower high. So could we see that lower low come in, maybe into that point of control? So I'd be watching for the rejection from this VWAP that we're at right now. If we reject and start to roll over here, come back down just a little bit lower would be nice to see. And I would be looking for longs here if we're seeing bull divs from those two lows. Okay, that's it for Solana. Now let's go to XRP. XRP finally did come up into our box of resistance on Monday. Yes, last night. Yeah. So we were looking for XRP. In the last video that I made, I said I am looking for XRP. It was holding our support resistance flip area. We broke above the point of control, back tested it as support, and we were holding it and continue just ranging for a bit over the weekend. But you can see this general area of support held. And so we were looking really to come, as long as we were above that point of control, we were looking to come up to our first box of resistance above us. If you go watch the last video, I think it was on Thursday that I made. And we finally have now hit into that box. So let's zoom out onto the 2-hour chart. Okay, that box was our golden pocket in confluence with the daily. Now we hit the golden pocket, but we did not hit the daily. But the golden pocket is still a good level to look for a rejection. We did get that rejection to pretty much backtest our value area high of our lower range. You can see, let me go ahead and pull this all the way. So it was a little bit of a front run of the value area high, but we did come down. It was even a local golden pocket area. 786, I mean. Yeah, 786, hit our local 786. That's why we bounced before hitting that value area high. But now I am also a little bit concerned about seeing, because this does look very three-wave corrective up into our resistance, and now we could see a bigger push down. What I would like to see in that case is grabbing these lows down here. Let's look at that. 211.63 around that area would be kind of nice to see. Let's do a golden pocket pull from our last lows. Let's go here to our highs. Okay, so not quite golden pocket. But yeah, I would say we are finally hitting into resistance here on XRP. And so we could see a bit of a bigger pullback on XRP. But as long as we're above the point of control, so this is the point of control of our smaller range, but we can also look at the point of control. Point of control of our bigger range is higher than us. And I actually think that it's probable that we work our way up to that point of control. Now that we have flipped the value area high, let me go ahead and clean this chart up. And let's come in here. Let's turn off some of these boxes here. Okay, now that we have flipped our value area low of this bigger range, broke above it, flipped it to support here, we're pushing up. Now we're pushing up into our first major box of resistance here, but as long as we are continuing to hold above this value area low, we have a higher probability to come up to our real resistance box. And I've been talking about this being our real resistance. We have a weekly level up there. We have a naked weekly point of control. We have our large range point of control, and we have our anchored VWAP from the all-time highs. So we hit our lower resistance. We saw a pullback. Now does the trend continue to push up to actually hit that weekly level, that point of control, where just like this is kind of equal to Bitcoin's 97K area of resistance, where then we could see a bigger pullback come in from that area. If we look at the divs that we're seeing, you can see we are seeing some bear divs on the chart. Higher highs on the price action, lower highs on the momentum waves. Money flow is starting to kind of come out here. So it would be nice to see one more drive though. Something like that. One more drive. Let's go ahead and look at our naked daily points of controls. Because I believe I can delete this one. Yep, I could delete that one. That is where we bounced, by the way. You could see here on Saturday, just like Solana, XRP came down to hit its naked daily point of control, pretty much perfect. Saw that bounce from the naked daily point of control. That's why we do mark these things out, because they do matter. Okay, but there's not much to be looking at here as far as naked daily point of controls, except the one that just closed, 38 minutes ago? It's around 227.6. Guess we could mark that out if you're looking at scalping. I'm not looking at scalping this, but Okay, now that daily above us still has not been hit as well, so we could see a reaction from that daily in SFP of this morning's highs into that daily. Let's go to, let me turn this off first. Okay, no real bear divs yet. Money flow actually looks pretty good on the 12 minute. It's coming up, about to cross into the green here. But what we could see, I actually, okay, let's pull this golden pocket first and let's see what we can see here. All right, golden pocket. Don't really like it too much there. I mean, we could reject from that golden pocket if this is going to be a bigger three-wave corrective move down, like in an A, B, C. Then we might reject from that golden pocket around 232. But it would actually be a little bit nicer, in my opinion, if we came up and tapped that daily at the top there at 237 pretty much and saw something like this, like, you know, bear divs, multiple drives, and then we got to pull back down to the bottom of the range before coming up to our point of control. Now that's scalp trading. That's intraday scalp trading. So if you're not scalp trading this, you just really want to be paying attention to this box above between 241 and 245.5. And then as far as supports below us, I would really be looking at these lows down here at around 211, 211.6. Okay. That's about it for XRP, but XRP is still looking pretty strong overall. Let's see if there's any daily levels. Yeah, there is a day. No, we tapped into it. That's right. And I believe we do not have any new weekly levels here. But we do have a new weekly level. Interesting. Okay, so we do have a new weekly level at 2077. It is a bit below our 211 lows, a little bit too far, in my opinion, to see an SFP of those 211 lows into 207. That's a bit too far for me. But in that case, let's just do this golden pocket pull one more time from our lows of our prior range to our current highs. Okay, yeah, I don't like it. I'd rather see the, well, there's a couple things we could look at because this golden pocket has only been formed after making this high. So since we've made this high, we have not hit into the golden pocket. So you can see we have local liquidity, internal liquidity from Saturday's lows into our golden pocket at 215.24. That could be a bounce area where we just continue to form a range. But I actually like the liquidity grab of these 211 lows on Thursday's lows into the 786 a little bit better. Okay, that's it for XRP. I expect overall us to come up a little bit higher, but we could see pullbacks to those local areas of support that I just talked about. Chainlink is, you know, we finally came up into our purple box of resistance that we were looking at. Naked daily point of control, value area high, naked weekly point of control, a daily level. This was our real box of resistance that we were talking about. And you can see we had the SFP of those highs. Last time I talked about Chainlink on Wednesday, was it? Wednesday or Thursday? We were looking for that SFP. That's why we have this marked out. Looking for the SFP into our purple box. We got that. If you took that, you know, you could just be looking at this as a range now. Pull this range here. And as soon as you started bouncing, let's go ahead and look at our golden pocket pull. Okay, so, did we hit the 886? So I do want to talk about this. Let's see if our 886 has been tapped. Yeah, that 886 has been tapped, which does give a higher probability to come down to take out these lows around 14.15. But it's not as strong because we've been ranging in an uptrend. So this 886 tap is really only in trending moves. This has been a local downtrend, and we did hit the 886 on the local downtrend, but it's in a much bigger uptrend. So I would say, even though we hit this local 886, is not as important. We are pushing up pretty strong right now on link as we speak. I would like to come a little bit higher into this box. You can see our one-to-one target is around 15.668. That is up closer to our naked weekly point of control, our daily and our naked daily point of control, which we still have not hit yet. Right now, we're at the value area high of the range of our little micro range here since last Wednesday. But I would like to come up a bit higher here. We were looking at this as a potential ABC here, coming up to our one-to-one, hitting into that, and then seeing a bigger correction. And that is still a possibility I'm looking at. But this now with this range that we've seen for the past week here, you could say this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe one more 5 here up into that area. And then you would see you would want a higher low to come in on the charts to continue the push up on Chainlink here. But I do think resistance is above us, just above us here. Even though we've barely hit into that box, I am still counting this as resistance. And I will be looking, well, I probably won't trade this one in particular, but I would be interested in shorts there if I saw the signals. Right now, you are not seeing the bear divs on Chainlink that you are seeing on Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. We're not really seeing those. So in some ways, Chainlink looks a little bit more healthy than the other coins. Let's actually look at this real quick. Let's go ahead and do our Fibonacci pull. From the potential highs of wave 3 to the lows of wave 4, let's turn on our expansion targets. Okay, yeah, that 1.236 right there, if this is, even if this is a 5-wave impulse, with this being a 1 in a contracting diagonal, your 2, here's your 3, 4, 5, then you're looking at that 1.236 being that target. It's pretty close to our one-to-one target for the bigger ABC and our resistance above us. So that's an area that I would be looking for potential shorts from that area. Let's look at the 1 hour chart here and see. Okay, 1 hour money flows coming up here. We're not really, we did see these bear divs on the 1 hour here. Money flow was coming out by then. You had the SFP. That would have been a great short to take if you were looking at the charts at the time. Even a scalp short. But it looks pretty strong right now. We're just ranging in this small range here. So I would like to come up, grab the highs one more time into resistance, see what happens from there. But right now, Chainlink looks pretty strong, and it looks like it's going to continue to come up a bit higher. If we do break this area here, this area just above us, then I believe we're probably going to come all the way up to 17 to 17.2. We have a daily, a naked weekly point of control, and our 886 tap up there. There's nothing else really holding us back in that area. Let's zoom out to the weekly chart. Okay, so no new weeklies here. Let's go ahead and do dailies. We do have that new daily level. And let's just look at our naked daily points of control here. Okay, so just the one that closed, what, 40 minutes ago or so, just below us. So not too much to look at there. But I do like this naked daily at 13.86. Let's see. Let's turn that off. Yeah. Okay. So that 13.86 area is now a local area of support that I would be watching. If we just look on the 2 hour chart and look from our last kind of 2 hour correction lows to our current highs, golden pocket is going to be at that naked daily point of control. So what I would do is look at this as a local level, Now, if we come up, let me fix this real quick. If we come up to this area first and reject from this area, I'm not going to be really looking to long this. But if we come down to this area first, say we reject from the value area high of the range where we're at right now, if we come down there, I will look to long that to bring up to the top of this box up here. But we also have to be careful here with chain link, because once again, guys, we're forming that sort of head and shoulders type pattern, which I know it's a pattern trading, but these are topping reversal patterns. We are definitely at the top of a big move that we've seen, and you're starting to find some ranginess, which means some exhaustion in the strength. So this left shoulder head, right shoulder, you could see that breakdown, see a fake out of that breakdown into that box of support, and then push up. If we push up first, reject here, I will probably be looking for a bigger retrace. Okay, that is it for Chainlink. Now let's go into Super real quick. Super. Okay, Super has been pretty interesting here. And Jaffiel, I appreciate you for really pointing this out to me here. So Super was in this big range that we've seen since what was that? December of 2023. So it's been a pretty big range here. We were able to bounce from the value area low of that range. You can see we came up to the point of control that first time, rejected that point of control, saw a nice higher low come in on the charts, and now we've continued to bust through that point of control, flip that point of control locally to support, and then came up to our weekly level, made new highs, grabbing the liquidity into our weekly. And we are seeing some consolidation here, a little bit of a pullback after hitting that weekly. But I would say this, Super, as long as it is above this point of control, actually, it could even come down, grab that low into the naked daily point of control here. And Super would still look nice to continue to the upside, but we are at resistance here. We grabbed our liquidity into our weekly. So let's actually look at that weekly. Yep, so we're at the weekly level of resistance now. And I do think we could see a bit of a pullback. Let's look at our daily chart. Okay, daily momentum waves topping out, but money flow doesn't look the worst. It is starting to round off here a bit. I think it would be a little bit nicer if Super could come up to this purple box of resistance between 82.6 and 86.5. We have a naked weekly point of control, and we also have our range highs up there. Little like this kind of sideways range that we've been seeing here after that mega crash that happened a few months ago in February. This mega crash, remember this, guys, over the weekend. So after that mega crash that happened over the weekend, we've kind of been forming a sideways range in here. Let's actually look at that sideways range. So first off, let's just hide this bigger range. And let's go from here. Yeah, that naked daily point of control is the back test of the value area high of that range. So if we are going to reject from this weekly and see a bit of a pullback, I'd be looking at that naked daily point of control at 59. Let's just make sure that that is actually naked still. Yeah, it's in there. So value area high, naked daily point of control. Let's go ahead and mark that out. Also, it is probably going to be a Fibonacci level. Let's just look. It's 382. It might be our 382. Let's check that out. No, golden pocket. Oh, wow. Okay, golden pocket's also there. So that's the area of support for sure. That is between, let me fix this, 59.52 and 58.6, 58.54. So that's all I would be looking at on Super. It does still look pretty strong overall. And so what I would say is let's, we're starting to form a range in here, a small range. You can just look at this little range here. play the range until it breaks. You can see we're coming up to the value area high, and the weekly, we keep rejecting from that weekly. Now, if we flip this weekly into support, I mean, there's a super high probability we're coming up to this box up here. But if we start to range here and lose our range, I expect us to come down here and then come up. Super looks pretty good though. There is some warning signs on Super. Let's look at this. Higher highs in the price action, lower highs in the momentum waves. Money flow is consistently draining now on the asset on the 2-hour chart. Let's look at our 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart, yeah, you know, lower highs, higher highs here, bear divs. Money flow looked really strong though, coming up into that weekly. So now it's starting to round off here. It actually would be nicer if we could get one more push up, see triple drive of bear divs here at the 4-hour into our big purple box of resistance, and then see the dump from there. But if we come down to this 59-cent area, actually, I am going to put an alert here. Okay, that looks pretty good on Super. And let's just go check Bitcoin real quick, see what Bitcoin's up to. Not much. It's just kind of chopping. Now, we're at the value area high on Bybit's range. Just chopping around a bit here. It is trying to break it and flip it, though. I want to see that move up to that weekly at least. So this big purple box of resistance, I didn't talk about what's in it much today in the video, but I've talked about it in many of my videos, so you guys should kind of know. We have a weekly level up here. Let's go ahead and turn on that weekly. We have and actually, let's make that right on it. We have a daily level. Let's turn on the dailies. You can see the daily in there. We have a naked monthly point of control. Oh, that's not naked monthly point of control. We have a golden pocket, which is the big golden pocket from the all-time high down to our 74K lows. And we have the anchored VWAP. Well, the anchored VWAP wasn't it when it was around here. We need to get rid of that now. We have our big range point of control that's in there. So there's a lot in here. There's a lot of resistance in this area. We also have a naked daily point of control, naked weekly point of control in there. Naked weeklies right on top of that. Naked monthly, of course. And then naked daily. I believe there is one in there. I just superseded it with the monthly and the weeklies. Looking good so far on Bitcoin, though. Pushing up. It's going to be real sketchy, guys, once we get up here. Because these 4-hour, 3 higher highs, 3 lower lows. You know, if this continues to come up here, this kind of comes up a little bit, rolls over. Money flow been kind of draining out of the asset into a very, very key resistance area. We could get the bigger pullback from there. I'm just warning you guys now. Okay, that's it, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. If you got anything out of this video, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Also, I do have a couple partners of the channel, BYDFI and MEXC. Links are in the descriptions of the comment. If you want to sign up, you guys can get discounts on your trading fees. You get deposit bonuses on BYDFI, a 15% cashback deposit bonus. On MEXC, it's 10% cashback deposit bonus on what you deposit. Plus, you can get up to $8,100 in futures bonuses, depending on how much you trade on BYDFI, and up to $20,000 in future bonuses, depending on how much you trade on MEXC. Both links are in the description. Also, link to NAMI is in the description. This is a new indicator that I'm checking out. We didn't discuss this much today, but this does give some pretty good signals. I really like the hidden bull div signals and the hidden bear div signals on this. Just gives you another form of, you know, a hidden div is a continuation trend div. So if you're trending in a move and you see a small push up and you see hidden bear divs, it's like, okay, you know, earlier today on the push up, we did see on this little push up back testing the value area high, we were seeing some hidden bear divs here. and it just kind of told me, okay, you know what? I think we could reject here. But that's about it, guys. Looks like right now Nami is showing some bear divs between the two highs that we just made. It does look like on Market Cipher B they're equal highs. So not bear divs, but very close to bear divs. I want to see us come up a bit more. I think we can come up a bit more. Okay, see you guys later.